Dear Microsoft, we're broke up. Oh, hey, sorry, I was writing my breakup letter to Microsoft. Let me explain. I've been a Microsoft partner for over 30 years, probably longer than some of you watching this video right now. I sold the license, deployed the products, trained the clients, and now we're broke up. Not because I have something to prove, because I found something better. And once I did, there's no going back. Today, I want to show you what I'm using instead. Hopefully, maybe it gives you some context around those nice programs we've been using for a long, long time. Again, let me give you some quick context. I built my career on Microsoft. Partner certifications, reseller agreements. I was the person walking into client meetings recommending Microsoft. Microsoft 365, way before it was called Microsoft 365. And for a long time, that was the right call. But then two things happened. ClickUp got serious. Not just about task management serious. Docs, chat, dashboards, automations, it became a real operating system for a business, not just a to-do list with some extra steps. And then Claude arrived, an AI brain that could sit right alongside any tool and actually reason through work. So I started asking a different question, not how do I use Microsoft tools better, but how do I even need it at all? And for most of us, most of what I was using it for, the answer was no. So here's where I landed. I'm going to show you the three tools that I land on today, my whole tech stack. Claude, ClickUp, Replit. Now, I did keep Outlook. Don't tell Microsoft. I kept Outlook for Exchange because, email and calendar stay the same. Everything else is gone. Exchange is pretty solid. And let me show you some of the replacements that I've made. One of them primarily was ClickUp. I fell in love with ClickUp probably a year into COVID. Got tired of paying Microsoft licenses, quite frankly, for some clunky products. So here is my workspace. This is where I go every single day. This is my startup dashboard where I log in every day and do this stuff. I'm going to show you some things inside of here. I'm going to show you how Docs replaced Microsoft Word, how tables and dashboards replace Excel, how chat inside here replaces Teams, and project views replace that thing Microsoft called project management. And then I'll show you where Claude lives in all of this. But let's start with Docs. Let's start with Word. This is usually where I get pushback when I have these conversations. People say, but I need my Word for my documents. Let me tell you, every document I need lives right here in ClickUp. SOPs, client templates, internal playbooks, onboarding guides. Here's the part that Word can't do. This data, these guides live right inside of the work that I do. My operations manual lives right beside where I'm actually getting stuff done. So when someone executes a task that involves an SOP, that document is right here. It's attached to it. I don't have to look on a shared drive and hope to God that somebody didn't rename it or move the file. And I don't have to open up a separate app to go figure out how to actually do the work. The work and the instructions live in the same place. Word just produces isolated documents. ClickUp Docs produces connected context. They're not the same thing. So right here is our operations manual. Everything has to do with our company is now in an operations manual. So here is the template format that we follow. This is a template for SOPs. I'm going to do lots of videos on ClickUp. I have a whole playlist here on YouTube, so be sure to check out that playlist. But I'm going to be doing lots of updates videos on how I'm using ClickUp for running a business and how you as a service-based business could do the same thing. But this is my SOP template. So the template for every single SOP in the system gets created off of this main view so that every single template, every single SOP in the system looks the same. Doesn't have different formatting and all that good fun stuff. So that's operations manual there. And let me just show you an actual document. So here's my style guide. I can have table of contents, which lead to these pages. And as you can see here, I have much more format ability than Word. I can do a lot of things, and I could actually share this out as a web page if I wanted to, straight out of here. So don't worry about security, all that stuff. It's built in. We'll get to that in another video. But this is the docs feature. So every single guideline that we have for my style guide, how we do business, how we write, our quality assurance checklist, our brand specific terminology, all of that lives inside of ClickUp. So when I do the work, all of that context around how we do business is built right in. I don't have to go look other places to get that data. Okay, so now let's talk about Excel. Excel, you're asking yourself, what are you actually using Excel in your business right now? I want you to ask yourself that. So that was the hard question that I had. And I was mainly using Excel to make lists, to track something, or make some simple math additions to calculate something. And then I found that ClickUp can do a lot of that functionality for me. So it can do things like keep things in a task view. It can keep things where it looks like a table. This is a table view similar to what you would find in Excel. So you probably seen Airtable, some others. This actually lives right here. I can sort this data. I can customize it. I can sort the columns. Everything that a tracking spreadsheet can do, but it's actually connected to actual tasks. And that's the important thing. I just realized that I don't really need Excel. I don't need Excel to do all of that stuff and open a whole nother document to do that. Now I want to talk about reporting is the other thing. Most people I find that use Excel are using it to put data. And I worked for $1 billion software company where they would take screenshots of Excel, put them in a PowerPoint doc for the Monday morning meeting from Hades. All of that can be done right where the work actually gets done without that repetitive stuff that goes with it. So that's what this is able to do for me, is build that data. So I have all my actions built right in here. So here's my ClickUp dashboard. You're getting an inside look to my ClickUp world. I'm going to get to this separately. You can have agents do work for you right inside of ClickUp, and you can give them guardrails, all that fun stuff. Separate video. Let's talk about dashboards. So if I come in here to my growth dashboard or my the growth system, and you'll see I have pipelines, campaigns, my content engine, all those in there. But I have a dashboard view that allows me to do a lot of that stuff that Excel would do. And it's built once, it's updated automatically, so no more copying and pasting spreadsheet data into a report every Friday afternoon. The spreadsheet you're maintaining right now is probably a dashboard waiting to exist. Now, I'm going to throw in one caveat because I know some of you might be throwing tomatoes at the screen right now. Actual financial modeling, complex multi-sheet calculation, Excel still wins there. But I'm not pretending that ClickUp replaces a CFO's spreadsheet. But for 80% of the rest of us that use Excel, this ClickUp can probably handle it without the spreadsheet tax. Now let's talk about my favorite one. I couldn't wait to delete this one when I left the software company I was working with. Microsoft Teams. I'm going to go out on the limb and say this on the record. I hate Microsoft Teams.
I hate Microsoft Teams.
There, I said it. Okay. And that's everyone's favorite app that they open for calls and then ignore it the rest of the time, or they've got it open all day and they're interrupted by chat messages all day. And then you got to figure out, does this chat message relate to work that I'm doing that's in another project management software or lives somewhere else? Guess what? ClickUp Chat replaces that asynchronous communication. Every conversation lives next to the work that it's about. So there are chat functions in here. I can DM, I can do all of that good, fun stuff. I can see my chat history. I can do all of that stuff. So let me just show you a chat message. This is a chat message where I actually have an agent who takes care of my daily rhythm and does stuff for me inside of ClickUp, actually sends me a message every day and wraps up my day. All of that lives in here. So I don't have to go into Microsoft Teams and have Teams open all day and then figure out how to connect the work to the actual subject of what we're talking about. Everything lives right here. ClickUp Chat replaces Slack. It replaces Teams. Now you're probably asking video calls. That functionality is also built inside of ClickUp. There is a sync up button. I'll show you right up here is the sync up in actions. So I could do a quick stand up meeting right inside of here. And again, that work will be right beside where I'm actually doing stuff. Now I still use Zoom for video calls. That's not changing. Most of our audience, most of the people we're connecting with, your customers, are probably using Zoom, unless you're shoving Teams down their throat. But switching to Teams to discuss something that lives in ClickUp was always a friction point that didn't need to exist. Now I can have all those conversations sitting exactly where the work is actually getting done. Now, the one that matters the most for service businesses, Microsoft Project or Planner or To-Do, I lost track, whatever the heck they're calling it this year. Here's the honest take. Those tools work fine for a simple task list, a simple to-do list, but they fall apart the moment that your project has dependencies, multiple assignees, has phases, and a client asking for a status update. That's when everything falls apart. ClickUp runs the whole project. So right here is my YouTube projects. Videos like this that I'm creating all live right here. ClickUp runs the entire project. So right here is this episode that we're doing right now. So here are all of my tasks. Everything lives right inside of ClickUp. So I can go through my checklist. I have due dates. I can see data in real time. I could build a dashboard around. I could do whatever I want with that same data. Now, when I'm doing client work and a client asks where things stand, I just share out that workspace for them. They're able to see it straight out of ClickUp. And that's the thing that frustrated me the most is everything in Microsoft 365 works in isolation. Word doesn't know what's going on in Planner. Teams doesn't know what's going on in SharePoint. And that you're the connective tissue. And that's an expensive place for you to be as a business owner. ClickUp is one workspace, documents, tasks, communication, reporting, all connected. So that's 4 replacements. And here's the question I get asked most. If I'm using ClickUp as the operating system, where does Claude fit in? Are they really competing? I'm going to get into some separate videos about the AI functionality built straight into ClickUp. So I could use Claude inside of ClickUp. But for my brain, when I get inside of ClickUp, my brain automatically goes into checklist, to-do stuff. And ideation was a problem for me. So that's where ClickUp, or Claude rather, that's where that lives. They do 2 different things for me personally. ClickUp is where the work lives. Claude is how I think through the work. So every time I need to draft something or reason through a decision or prep for a client call, I've got templates in there. It's a simple handoff between ClickUp and Claude. Yes, you can connect those. So a task from ClickUp can go into Claude, draft the SOP, output back into ClickUp Docs. Claude generates, ClickUp stores, and connects. Now, again, ClickUp also has its own AI called ClickUp Brain. So it's worth noting the difference. You could do some of this right inside of ClickUp. And whatever's best for you. And again, I use Claude for ideation and thinking. So that's how I use it. So 3 tools. That's it. That's 98% of my workday is 3 tools. I use Claude for thinking, ClickUp for the work, Replit, which we're going to be doing some future videos on when I need to build something custom that neither tool covers, like my website, like our content management system, like social media posting. All of that, I created a unique tool that builds my website, and all of that lives right inside of a Replit project. We'll get to that in future videos. So again, Microsoft 365 is still there for email and calendar. That's it. Otherwise, Microsoft, we're broke up. Until I find a valid replacement for Exchange, we might be fully broke up. But before you close this video, I want you to do one thing. Open up your subscriptions, count the tools that you're paying for, ask which ones your team actually opened in the last 30 days. That number is your stack tax. You don't need a tool to calculate it. You just need to go and look. Maybe ask your IT provider to run a quick tech stack audit on your network, on your company. Next Tuesday, I'm building an IT health dashboard in Replit and Claude. So I'm going to do that live right here on the screen. So if you want to see some custom internal tools look like when you're running this stack, that's one of them. Be sure to subscribe, like and subscribe, share this with a friend, and I will see you in the next one.